Well, how do you do, fam? I'm your man, SteubeMan. Anyway, today's video, I wanted to follow up on yesterday's video where I mentioned rereading Fyodor Dostoevsky's Demons. This bad boy right here. So, when I was reading this past weekend, a particular passage, it kind of struck me. It shows one of the big reasons why I really like Fyodor Dostoevsky as an author. And I wanted to share that with you guys. Let me know what you guys think. I guess I'll just start with reading the passage. Sometimes, even a little thing strikes one's attention exceptionally and for a long time. Though the whole main story about Mr. Stavrogin still lies ahead, I will note here, as a curiosity, that all of his impressions during all the time he spent in our town, the sharpest stamp was left in his memory by the homely and almost mean little figure of the little provincial official, the jealous husband and the crude family despot, the miser and moneylender, who locked up candle ends and the leftovers from dinner, and who was at the same time a fierce sectarian of God knows what future social harmony, who reveled by night in ecstasies over fantastic pictures of the future phalanstery, in the coming realization of which, in Russia and in our province, he believed as firmly as his own existence, and that in a place where he himself had set aside a little house, where he had married a second time and picked up a little bit of cash as a dowry, where perhaps for 100 miles around there was not a single person beginning with himself, who even outwardly resembled a future member of this universally all-human social republic and harmony. God knows how these people get made, Nikolai thought in bewilderment, occasionally recalling the unexpected Fourierist. All right. So obviously upon first reading, it's a little strange if you're not familiar with all the references in the novel, stuff like that. So let me just try to paint a quick little picture. This is an observation that one of the main characters in the novel, Nikolai Stavrogin, is making about another character, a smaller character in the novel, called Liputin. I'll try to put the spelling somewhere so that you kind of get it. So anyway, I wanted to understand myself a little bit more about what Dostoevsky was trying to say with this little passage and with his kind of commentary on society, so to speak. In the story, Mr. Stavrogin makes this observation right after having this little meeting with Liputin at his house. And they're sitting at a table, and Stavrogin looks over onto the bookshelf, or maybe onto a desk, I don't know, and sees a book by a philosopher named Fourier. I think that's who it was, but yeah, that's why he said at the very end, Fourierist. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm just trying to be a little French or whatever, but it probably isn't working. So anyway, Fourier, I think, is basically he's a socialist philosopher who was popular in France around this time, maybe a little bit before. And so this is a commentary on the types of people that kind of take these French socialist ideals to heart in Russia. So Liputin is a type of person who dreams about the future phalanstery, which is, I don't really know exactly what that is, but I think it's just basically an idea for a utopia. So he dreams of this future utopia where everyone is equal, everyone is provided for, and yet on this side of that utopia, he acts the exact opposite of how you would expect one to act in that future utopia. He's a moneylender, he's a miser, he's a despot, he's all these opposite things. And so that's what kind of struck me. So as I was kind of doing my little research into Liputin and the name, where does that name Liputin come from? Because I know Dostoevsky sometimes likes to use names like Stavrogin. The name comes from Stavros, which in Greek means the cross. So Stavros is cross in Greek. Well, I wondered, what does Liputin mean in something, whatever. So I literally went to Google, and I didn't use Google. I don't use Google. But anyway, I went to a search engine, and I looked up. I just started by I started to type, what does the name Liputin mean? But as I was doing LIP, it started to fill in the gaps or fill in the, what is it called? Anyway, it started to give me search suggestions. And the first one that started to come up was a correction to my spelling of Liputin, which was Lilliputian. I think that's how you would say it, or Lilliputian. I don't know. It struck me because a Lilliputian or something like that is the name of the little itty bitty people from Gulliver's Travels, which is a old story from before even this book was written. Funnily enough, earlier in this book, Gulliver's Travels was mentioned. It was referenced already. So that's what kind of lends me to think that Liputin is definitely a play on Lilliputian. And so that gives us insight into the type of character Liputin is, or that he is personifying, the kind of ideals, I should say, the kind of person in real life at that time in Russia, the kind of person that, in a certain sense, Dostoevsky is criticizing. Maybe not. You take it as a criticism, but nonetheless, he's putting those two things together. But I'm definitely convinced that Liputin is supposed to be a satirical character, a little person who's accepting these big ideals from French utopian socialists, trying to bring them into Russia for the communist revolution one day, which happens. 50 years after this book is written, I believe, yeah, about 50 years, 40 or 50 years, communist revolution actually happens. So this book in general is kind of prophetic to the upcoming Russian Revolution at that time in Russia. Obviously, it wouldn't be the Russian Revolution if it wasn't in Russia. Let's drink coffee to that. The reason Stavrogy makes such a remark is that Liputin had mentally invested himself so much into socialist utopian ideals, while in actuality, he lived in a complete opposite manner. Liputin did not care whatsoever about anyone but himself. He was miserly with food and money, and he was a despot over those in his own home. And yet Liputin fancied himself one day living in a future that was grounded on equality and plenty and community. Maybe this is what also strikes Stavrogy, but it's what struck me. It seems that Liputin can't help but feel that even what he wants to believe in, that is at complete opposition to reality. And he betrays his socialist utopian ideals by acting like a despot, a penny pincher, and a miser in general. See, he knows that there are so this is the point I kind of wanted to make. Liputin knows that there are so many people in the world who will not go along with his utopian ideals. Other people are selfish. Other people want to have what others have worked hard for, right? So until that utopia dawns on humanity, he has to survive. And so he has to survive by acting in the very opposite way of his ideals. He has to hoard it all, because if he doesn't, he won't survive until the dawn of the utopian revolution. I kind of gave it away there when I said revolution, though. How is such a utopia ever going to come about if he himself never acts in the idealistic way that his ideology or his philosophy or his dream, his utopia, if he never acts in that altruistic way of sharing with people and being loving and communal towards other people, if he never acts like that, how will his utopia ever come into existence? You can't trust them to be good people on their own. You have to force them to be good. All right? I don't know if I did this passage justice. Maybe I rambled on a little bit too long. Hopefully, I will have a follow-up video, maybe not, I don't know, where I might continue reading this novel and also figure out what does Dostoevsky offer as a prescription to this type of person, this type of predicament, you could say. How does a person actually bridge the gap between the bad experience of reality we're having right now and that utopia one day? Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling on at this point. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. If you have any insights, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. My name is SteubeMan. Peace out.